get you the big story from Kerala, where Islamist radicals crossed the line once again. This time they used a child to spread hate, and at least 2 videos of a young boy chanting extremely provocative slogans against Hindus and Christians has now surfaced. The slogans were raised at a PFI rally in Alleppey and is going viral on social media. The boy can be heard saying, "The end for Hindus and Christians is near." Listen in. Now, after the provocation comes the denial. The PFI has distanced itself from these hate slogans, saying slogans raised by the boy was not approved. It is not our policy to provoke. In the visuals, very clearly, the boy giving out these hate slogans, there are others who are cheering him. Despite the visual proof, the PFI saying they have nothing to do with this. This is a statement that they have made. Vivek Karandalam is live with us. Vivek, this is the first reaction coming in from PFI, but very interesting statement, distancing itself from these slogans. But in the video, very, very clear proof that it's not just the boy who is making these statements. There are people around him who are echoing the same sentiments.
Exactly. See, if you look at the statement which the PFI has put out, they say they are in a clear denial. They're saying that these slogans are not something which has been endorsed by them. They say that, we don't preach such slogans. But in the meantime, in the end, in the 7th point which they have made, in that letter where they have put out, it says that in future, we'll try to ensure that such mistakes won't happen. So somewhere down the line, that they have, agreed to what has happened out there on Saturday evening in the rally that took place in Alleppey, where they have almost agreed to that someone in their group, in that group of 1,000 people, they have made that slogan. In the meantime, they also say that we don't endorse. Now, also they say that, in that sloganeering, in the whole PFI rally, it was actually a call against Hindutva, fascism, and they say that there are a large number of people who are endorsing their ideology. And
absolutely. Questions being raised on the state government as well. Vivek, stay with us. In fact, the Kerala police are also yet to register a case. Despite the proof, no action has been taken yet. If no action is taken, in fact, the Kerala police are also going to be complicit in the hate mongering, because in the video, a very chilling message being given out by the child. There are others who are also chanting these slogans. If the Kerala police do not act, then it's on them. Vivek.
Exactly. See, it's been 2 days since this incident took place. It's on Saturday evening at 5 o'clock that this rally took place, and it was at that point of time these provocative chantings were made. And now that when I checked with the police, they say that an investigation is on. Since they have not got any complaints precisely, they were not able to register a case. It's indeed very, very shocking. But when I spoke to the ADGP, he said that, a case will be registered against them. They have identified the people and the investigation is going in the right path. Remember, it's a very, very shocking video that has come out where a young boy, somewhere between the age of 9 years and 12 years, coming out and issuing death threats against, Hindus and Christians.
That's right. Open threats that are being given out. Vivek, thank you for joining us with that update. The BJP has now questioned the state government, slamming the radicals for such provocative statements, demanding action immediately.
A group called the PFI, which has been branded as extremist recently by the Kerala High Court. Instead of acting on this, the Kerala government allows them a free pass to take out this march of bigotry and hatred. The left parties, which once upon a time said PFI was the avatar of Simi, is allowing them this kind of free run, giving them patronage, defending them. But where is that entire Islamophobia ecosystem, that ecosystem of so-called secularities? Why aren't they taking a position on this?
Well, in fact, the NCPCR has also taken note of the video and has said that this is against the law. We'll keep track on all the developments on that big story. For now, slipping into a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Times now. Action begins here.
क्या पूछूं आपसे कि आपका जो स्टे था कांग्रेस पार्टी में, ये शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट था कि हॉट एंड सावर था?
जब जब राजनीति में कोई फैसले होते हैं मैडम जी, तब एक बात बहुत तय होती है कि लोगों के हित के लिए, जनता की सेवा के लिए ये फैसला होना चाहिए, और उसी को देखते हुए ये फैसला लिया गया था। लेकिन जहां गए, जिस कांग्रेस पार्टी पर भरोसा किया, उनके नेताओं पर जो भरोसा किया, उससे एक बात तो तय हो गई थी कि ना ये जन सेवा करना चाहते हो, ना कोई करता है उसको रोकने का काम करते हैं। जो जन सेवा करना चाहता है उसको रोक दो, हम नहीं करना चाहते तो हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ। और ये काम हम नहीं कर सकते थे। हम आंदोलन के जरिए निकले थे, लोगों ने हम पर उम्मीद देखी थी, हम पर भरोसा किया था, और हमने कहीं ना कहीं गुजरात के भीतर एक अच्छी उम्मीद को खड़ा करने का काम किया था, जो कांग्रेस को इनडायरेक्टली डायरेक्टली 2017 में फायदा किया था और मजबूत विपक्ष की भूमिका में आई थी। लेकिन आज कहां हुआ, ना आपको मीटिंग में बुलाते हैं, आपको वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट बना दिया, लेकिन कोई काम आपका तय ना किया। कहीं ना कहीं सिर्फ अपमान। और हमारे परिवार में और हमारे कई साथी कहते हैं कि अगर जहां सम्मान ना हो वहां अपमान नहीं होना चाहिए।
तो हार्दिक जी, ये सब आपको पहले से पता नहीं था? क्योंकि 2017 आप पॉलिटिक्स में आए थे और 2019 का चुनाव हुआ था, आप बहुत जगह साथ साथ घूमे थे, क्योंकि आपने फॉर्मली कांग्रेस पार्टी ज्वाइन कर ली थी। और हमेशा से लोग यही कहते हैं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी एक प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी ओन्ड बाय एक गांधी परिवार है। तो आपको पहले ये पता नहीं था, या अंदर जाके कुछ ऐसा पता चला जो आप चौंक गए और इतना सरप्राइज हो गए?
देखिए नविका जी, मैं 2019 में पार्टी ज्वाइन किया था। 2015 से लेकर 2019 तक मैं इंडिपेंडेंट रहा, जनता की आंदोलन किए, जनता की सेवा की, और हमारे आंदोलन के कारण अनेक योजना गुजरात के लोगों को मिली। कांग्रेस में ज्वाइन होने का रीजन ये था कि हमें ऐसा था कि यार हमारा कोई पॉलिटिकल फैमिली है नहीं, पॉलिटिकल परिवार नहीं है, चलो राहुल गांधी जी हमें प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, इसीलिए हम पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ज्वाइन किया। पहले दिन से जो विपरीत परिस्थिति हमारे साथ होती थी, हर दिन हर मुद्दे को लेकर हम राहुल जी को मुद्दा बताते रहते कि आज इन लोगों ने ये किया है, आप थोड़ा देखिएगा। कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं, कोई जवाब नहीं। लगातार हम अपनी परेशानी पार्टी के भीतर जो थी वो राहुल जी तक पहुंचाई, लेकिन उन्होंने कभी स्टैंड नहीं लिया। तो हम जो उस भरोसे से आए थे, उस भरोसा तो हमें काम करने नहीं दे रहा था, वो तो प्रोटेक्ट नहीं कर रहा था। बात रही जब कोई लीडर दिल्ली से गुजरात आता है तो उसकी जिम्मेवारी होती है कि यार जो लीडर से यहाँ के स्टेट के, उन सबसे 1 by 1 मिल लिया जाए। कभी भी 1 by 1 मिलने का मौका नहीं दिया गया, या ना 1 by 1 मिलने का काम किया। गुजरात में 2017 के चुनाव में 82 सीट्स कुल मिला के कांग्रेस की आई थी। आज कितनी है मालूम है आपको? 65। यानी कि आपके इतने विधायक चले गए, तो आपने कभी एक साथ सभी विधायक से बैठने का काम नहीं किया। जो 4 साल से मैं कह रहा था कि आप सभी विधायक से मिलिए, वो काम अभी दाहोद में 10 दिन पहले जब आए थे तब पहली बार हुआ। तो जब आप जनता के हितों के लिए काम करना नहीं चाहते, उनकी मदद नहीं करना चाहते, उनके लिए खड़ा नहीं होना चाहते, तो आप कैसे विश्वास करते हैं कि गुजरात की जनता आपको मौका देगी, आपको सहयोग देगी? और मैंने लगातार उनको कहा कि आप गुजरात में ये व्यापारी राज्य है, व्यापारी स्टेट है, यहाँ हर एक व्यापार से जुड़ा हुआ लोग है, आप उद्योग को गाली क्यों दे रहे हैं लगातार? कोई व्यक्ति अपना उद्योग बड़ा कर रहा है तो वो अपनी मेहनत से कर रहा है। आप ये बोल देंगे कि तुम्हें सरकार ने मदद की इसलिए तुम खड़े हो गए। अरे नहीं, 2014 से पहले भी अदानी अंबानी थे, 2014 से बात थोड़ी ना आए, पहले भी थे ना वो। तो आप लगातार व्यापारी के नाते, एक गुजराती के नाते आप सिर्फ गाली देते रहोगे तो ये ठीक नहीं है।
आपने अपनी रेजिग्नेशन लेटर में लिखा है कि जितने लीडर हैं वो गुजरात में वो चिकन सैंडविच के इंतजाम में ज्यादा।
After 45 minutes of hearing, district judge reserves the decision on Hindu side's plea for more survey and access in Gyanvapi. Muslim side wants the petition junked. Hindu side says court will need to decide if the Worship Act applies to Gyanvapi Masjid before deciding the plea for prayers. Now call for survey in Mathura. Hindus seek appointment of surveyor, plea for appointment before vacation. BJP backs Hindus plan to hold rituals outside Mangaluru Masjid complex. Claim temple-like ruins have been found in the Masjid complex during renovation. Kerala governor's warning about dangerous PFI and AIDS bears out in public. SDPI activist, a child, caught on camera giving indirect death threats to Hindus and Christians. Assam Chief Minister stirs a controversy, says madrasas should cease to exist for backing regressive thought. Congress slams him for deviating from real issues. India is scripting a story of change. Prime Minister Modi tells Indian diaspora in Tokyo, calls Japan India's natural partner. The diaspora hails Prime Minister Modi as India's Sher, says he has given Indians abroad pride in their identity. US President Joe Biden draws red line for China at the beginning of Quad, says US will respond militarily if Taiwan is invaded. Well, the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has sparked a political war with his remarks that madrasas should cease to exist and that Quran should be taught only at home. He also opined that no one is a born Muslim in India and that if Muslim children are smart, it is because of their Hindu past. While addressing a gathering in Delhi, Sarma said that children will not be able to think of becoming doctors and engineers till the word madrasa exists. The Assam Chief Minister said that there should be stress on teaching science, math and biology, botany, as well as the other important subjects to the children, but they should study to become doctors, engineers, professors and scientists. In fact, this statement, very interesting, also coming in after 2020 when the Assam government had decided to dissolve all the government-run madrasas and convert them into general educational institutions.
भाई साहब, ये मद्रासा शब्द ही विलुप्त हो जाना चाहिए। जब तक ये मद्रासा दिमाग में घूमते रहेगा तब तक बच्चा को भी डॉक्टर इंजीनियर नहीं बन सकता है। अगर बच्चा को आप स्कूल में जाने का समय आप पूछ लेता है कि बेटा तुम मद्रासा जा रहा है, तुम जुनाब बनेगा, इस रास्ते से तुम डॉक्टर नहीं बनेगा, तो कोई बच्चा मद्रासा नहीं जाएगा। मद्रासा में तो दाखिल किया जाता है वायलेटिंग ह्यूमन राइट्स, किसलिए वो रास्ता बंद हो जाता है। तो आप जरूर कुरान पढ़ाइए, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन सबसे ज्यादा पढ़ाइए साइंस, मैथ्स, बायोलॉजी, बोटानी, जूलॉजी। जो आप बोल रहे हैं मुसलमान लोग कुरान कंठस्थ कर रहा है तो इसलिए उनमें बहुत ज्यादा मेरिट होता है। ये सारा मुसलमान भाई हिंदू था।
In fact, the BJP has also endorsed a statement in an explosive twist that has come in. BJP has invoked Nikhat Zareen's example, saying India needs Nikhats, not Zakir. That's a statement coming in from the BJP, saying there's nothing wrong with what Himanta Biswa Sarma has said. He focused on modern education for children because that's the need of the hour. We need Nikhats and not Zakir Naiks in the country.
Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Chief Minister of Assam, is batting for modernity and opportunity. But on the other hand, you have the practitioners of vote bank politics and cynical Islamophobia lobby that wants Muslims to be trapped forever in the prism of madrasas and identity. They want more Zakir Naiks, whereas the country needs more Nikhat Zareens. And that is what Mr. Hemanta Biswa Sarma is advocating for, that Muslims should get an opportunity, access to education that will allow them to become doctors, engineers, lawyers, and for that they need modern education, they need progressive education.
So Mohit Bhatt and Nibir Dekha join us on the broadcast. Mohit, this reaction coming in from the BJP. So this is not just the Assam Chief Minister, but the BJP also backing it, saying yes, it's right what he is saying, that he has not said anything against madrasas or Quran. He has said that should be read but at home, saying modern education is really the need of the hour.
Well, Pratibha, not just Poonawala, but we heard with Kaushal Kishore, who's also the union minister. I went to him and asked him that what exactly he has to say on the statement that has been made by Hemanta Biswa Sarma. He said that it's a vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that modern education should be given in madrasas, and that is what being, said by Hemanta Biswa Sarma. You see, Hemanta Biswa Sarma, while speaking at a program, said you cannot become doctor, engineer or a scientist if you go to a madrasa. You need to have modern education, you need to have education of science, you need to have education of mathematics, you need to have education of English if you want to excel in your life and become an engineer or an astronaut or a scientist. And this is where the opposition parties and the clerics are hitting out at Hemanta Biswa Sarma, saying that is the choice of the child and the choice of the parents, whichever school they want to send their child to. Now the opposition is relating this to targeting a particular community by Hemanta Biswa Sarma. But what particularly Hemanta Biswa Sarma said that if a child wants to learn
absolutely, because modern education is what's needed. That's a statement that he made. Do stay on with us. We have Mr. Majid Memon also on the phone line with us. Mr. Memon, now the BJP has batted for the progressive education that he has spoken about, saying we don't really want Zakir Naiks.
See, I have been told that the Assam Chief Minister is disliking the word madrasa, and he wants word madrasa should go. I only want to convey to him or to all BJP leaders that madrasa means shara, madrasa means schools, and there is a religious education is being taught. No religion teaches, you see, bad things. No religion.
No, but a point that he made, Mr. Memon, the point that he made was that you can read the Quran, do that at home. What the children need to read is science, technology. This is what is needed. And that's the reason why the Assam government had brought in that change to madrasas for modern education, saying madrasas are not needed. If at all children want to learn the Quran, it should be at home.
No, he is not right. You see, why? Who is he? Who is the minister, or what power does anybody have, any political leader, to say that you can only perform your religious duties at home and nowhere else? Who is he to say that?
No, but by denying formal education to these children, wouldn't you be denying opportunities to the Muslim children? That's the point that he was trying to make.
Muslim children are bound to be given academic education. They must receive, and they must be in the mainstream, they must receive all education. But how can anybody say Quran cannot be read in madrasas or in schools? What is the...
No, he said the focus should not be on learning Quran. That can be done at home. The focus should be on modern education. But when you say that his statement is wrong, so one second, when you say that his statement is wrong, then you're denying modern education to the Muslim kids. And by denying them that kind of education, they are the ones who will be at loss. They are the ones who will be losing out on the opportunities, which is what Mr. Sharma was trying to highlight.
No, we are grateful to the sympathies shown towards Muslim and concern shown about Muslim children, that they should be given general education. Well, we are grateful for that. But does that mean that Hindu children must not be taught Gita in the schools or somewhere? Or Christians should not be taught Bible in the school? That is not correct. Therefore, let them read Quran as well, because Quran also teaches them the way of life. But then they must also receive other education. And I am grateful to Mr. Samra or anybody who is so much worried about Muslim boys and girls.
Okay, lastly, a reaction coming in from the BJP is that we need more Nikhat Zareens in the country. We don't need more Zakir Naiks.
No, BJP should take care of its own children. The Muslim community is competent enough to look after their children. Please don't tell us what we should do. We must only tell our children that they should have patriotism, they should love the country, they should help people around them, and they must live in good.
Who are you more proud of, Nikhat Zareen or Zakir Naik? Because the BJP says the choice is very clear.
No, we are not. Who is Zakir Naik or anybody? Why should anybody be made to agree for one or the other?
So you're proud of both then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't accept any of these names. But why should you impose some name to me? I know what is good, and that good has to be followed for my country, for my society, for my people.
Okay, all right. Mr. Memon, thank you for joining us. Nibir Deka is also joining us. Nibir, Himanta Biswa Sarma has made such statements before, but he has also walked the talk in Assam when he converted the madrasas into general educational institutions. And this was in a bid to facilitate modern education to several students. And this is a move that has been welcomed by the Muslim community as well.
So exactly, and there are many political reactions that are coming in Assam. When the law was enacted, where the general madrasas were converted into general schools, the opposition parties reacted to it, and after the Guwahati High Court upholded the same law, the AIUDF said that they will approach the Supreme Court. And now today, after the statements made by Himanta Biswa Sarma yesterday, they are still opposing. The TMC as well as the Assam Congress is opposed, and they have said that will Vedic education be also stopped, just like Quran. So they have tried to, they have tried to divert the issue, and they have said that the Assam Chief Minister is, trying to divert the issue into madrasa as opposed to, focusing on other issues. So they have opposed the statements made by the Chief Minister, the Congress, the TMC, as well as the other opposition parties.
That's right. So the BJP has asked very direct questions, and some of the leaders not even able to differentiate between a sports star and a terrorist. In fact, refusing to call out Zakir Naik and saying that we know who we should be proud of. Listen into the statement that Himanta Biswa Sarma made.
भाई साहब, ये माद्रासा शब्द ही विलुप्त हो जाना चाहिए। जब तक ये माद्रासा दिमाग में घूमते रहेगा, तब तक बच्चा कभी डॉक्टर इंजीनियर नहीं बन सकता है। अगर बच्चा को आप स्कूल में जाने का समय आप पूछ लेता है कि बेटा तो माद्रासा जा रहा है।
All right, Shiv Sena MP Mr. Arvind Sawant is also with us. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Sawant, how do you respond to the statement of Himanta Biswa Sarma? He said that focus should be on modern education and there is no need for madrasas.
Basically, I feel very sorry state of affairs are going on in the country.
Okay.
There are institutions who are teaching religious things. But it's partly is correct that if they should be, they should not become doctors. They will not become doctors, engineers, whatever it is, whatever he says is correct.
Okay, but the BJP has made a distinction. Mr. Sawant, BJP has made a distinction saying what we need in the country is Nikhat Zareens. We do not need Zakir Naiks.
That in madrasas, the regular education should be imparted to the children who are there in the madrasas. Unless that is being taught to them, they will not pass the even 10th SSC examination. From what is the future of their life? They should be taught the regular, whatever this curriculum is there, so that they can appear for the SSC board exam, and accordingly they can be brought to the mainstay of the education field.
Mr. Sawant, if the Muslim children have to idolize someone, would you say it should be Nikhat Zareen or it should be Zakir Naik?
Sarman, if they really desire to Sarman the Muslim community, they should Sarman it and tell them, think of a future of your child. What he needs is education. In addition to that, he wants to learn whatever the religious books. We have no objections.
Okay, Zakir Naik or Nikhat Zareen?
We too learn Mahabharata. We too learn so many things. Let everyone have their right to do all these things. But unless they get education, their future is in the blink.
Yeah, their future is at stake, which is why the leaders need to unite in ensuring education for the community, because that's the only way to prosper. Mr. Sawant, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Political controversy brewing over this statement that was made by the Assam Chief Minister, but the BJP saying nothing wrong with what he has said. We're slipping into a short break here. We'll be right back with lots more. Stay with us.
Times Now. Action begins here.
For the last 2 years, the world has been relentlessly fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. As the countries across the globe prioritize vaccinations to keep the next wave of COVID at bay, India also rolled out precautionary jabs this year to achieve herd immunity against the virus. While COVID has not risen substantially in India in the last few months, the pandemic has not yet faded. India has remained on guard, but vaccination among children remains low and is significantly less talked about.
Immunizing the kids will not only check the spread of the asymptomatic infections, who can act as silent hosts for the virus, and which will lead to again spread in the society, but again it can also mitigate the severity, the intensity of the infection in children. Now that the schools have reopened, it is very important that the children are vaccinated. A lot of parents are still hesitant about sending the children to school, but definitely children should no longer stay at home. They should definitely go to school, and so to vaccinate them. By vaccinating them, we can allay this fear in the parents' mind. Almost 40% of pediatric deaths below the age of 20 years were in the age group of 0 to 9 years. Majority of infection in children are asymptomatic infection. Almost 70 to 80% of children have very minimal infections or they remain asymptomatic.
Welcome back. While Gyanvapi case is being heard in Varanasi District Court, another mosque controversy has erupted, this time in Karnataka's Mangaluru. A temple-like structure has been found during renovation work at the Jama Masjid. The Hindu groups held a meeting over the controversy and have now decided to hold a ritual to determine the divine presence at the disputed site. The ritual is said to be held near the mosque premises on Wednesday.
क्या उधर मंदिर मिला है और उसको कोई उधर अंदर नहीं जाने का है, कोई रिनोवेशन काम नहीं करने का एक कोर्ट का आदेश है आ गया है। विश्व हिंदू परिषद उसको स्वागत करता है। इसलिए अभी हमने डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को हमने मांग किया है, हमारा डिमांड है जल्दी से जल्द वो पुरातत्व विभाग से उसको जांच करो और वो मंदिर क्या उधर मिला है प्राचीन हिंदू मंदिर वो हिंदुओं को छोड़ दो।
And well, the opposition and others have also questioned the saffron siege in the case, saying this is a 900-year-old mosque, so this is a needless controversy.
No, I have not seen that, but I have seen the videos of that, where clearly when they tried to repair that mosque, when they started to when they took away some portion of the mosque, the temple is been appeared there because the structure of the temple has come out.
See, the 25th or maybe it can happen on 26th also. Okay. There's a local system that this Prashna is questioning. Okay, it's a part of astrology. Okay. They do this Rambala Prashna. Okay. The locals, all the locals Hindus of that area. Okay. Want to want to do this ritual to get an idea whether they should go ahead with the legal fight or not in those things. I have visited the area before also. I have seen from far. Now it is sealed. The structure exactly looks like a temple architecture from outside.
Okay.
Inside I have some videos and all. It also looks like temple architecture. What we have seen in the code, these rituals and whatever the outcome of rituals won't be, it's not a document. So we need documents for that. What we have asked is, we have asked the district administration to do a thorough survey of the whole thing, or transfer this case to the archaeological department so that some kind of clarity will get about the structure.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Imran is live with us with more details on this. Imran, what is the basis of the controversy? Have the groups revealed the temple remnants that they say have been found in the Mangaluru temple? And has a case registered perhaps in this regard, as they have decided to approach the court, as they've said?
Well, the controversy started last month when the mosque authorities went for a extension of the mosque. So when they brought down several of the old buildings, so wherein the VHP leaders started claiming that this building belongs to the Hindu temple, and the structure, what they feel is all the elements of what a Hindu temple comprises of. And so that's where the controversy started. Immediately, the district administration seized this thing and have put injunction that nobody can venture into that place right now. The mosque has said that it's a 900-year-old mosque. They have all the documents, and the mosque earlier 900 years back didn't have the same structure as now. They came in different designs, and in fact this was granted to them, and all the documents pertaining to it is available with them, and in fact they even had clearance from the panchayat to go ahead for extension. But since the controversy has broken out, the district administration has said that nobody can enter into the place till the issue is resolved. The administration has said that still they're not able to identify whether it's a Hindu temple or a Jain temple. But in the meanwhile, VHP has gone to the court over this issue, which asks for status quo over this particular area. Now the controversy starts now because of the plan by the VHP, and even supported by the local BJP MLA, the Bharat Shetty there, that on 25th they're going to carry out a divination process there near the mosque premises, and that could lead to escalation in this issue. The district administration is geared up for it to ensure that harmony is maintained. But Hindu groups are saying that either on 25th or 26th, they're going to do the divination process. And even we spoke to the education minister in Karnataka. He also says that all the photographs available with them show that it's a Hindu temple, and district administration station should probably give it back to the Hindus because it's a Hindu temple there.
All right, Imran, thank you for joining us with those details. So that is expected to happen on Wednesday, a puja that has been planned by the right-wing groups. We'll keep a track of those developments. Shifting our focus now to another incident that has come to light, negligence in the ropeway management in Meher that has come to the fore. Despite the alert of the Met Department, the ropeway was not closed. The ropeway had to be closed in the middle due to the strong storm. So from 1.5 hours, visitors were suspended mid-air and they were waiting for some help to come in. There were no arrangements that were made for the rescue as well, and it could have led to a big accident. And for those who were stuck there, it was quite a scare. They were suspended mid-air, no help coming in. There was a huge storm as well, so there was fear that the cables could snap as well. Despite the fear, for a long time, those who were part of the ropeway were stranded midway. Govind joins us over the phone line with more details on this. Govind, this is quite a scary situation to be in, and there had been warnings that had come in from the Met Department. Despite that, no adequate action taken.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in Madhya Pradesh, Met Department had a certain alarm to the sudden weather change. Even after that, it can be clearly seen the total mismanagement of the ropeway management. They did not take this alarm seriously. That's why such situation created. Almost 80 passengers kept stuck for 1 hour in 20 trolleys. But thank God now the storm has stopped, but it's still raining, and the passengers are being rescued one by one. and the rescue work has already started. So this is absolutely what we can understand. A big misfortune can be, we can say that एक जो ऐसी आपदा भी जिसकी आशंका होती है, क्योंकि हम लोग ऐसा इस तरह की घटना पहले भी देख चुके हैं.
All right, so now the rescue operations have begun. Govind, thank you for joining us with that update. So as we keep a track on that, don't go anywhere. We're slipping into a short break here, but the most chilling video of the day has come in from Kerala, where a boy, a 9-year-old, has been seen giving out death threats to Hindus and Christians. Editor-in-Chief Rahul Shivshankar joins you with that exclusive on the other side.
Times now. Action begins here.
Viewers, this is the explosive exclusive with me, Rahul Shivshankar. What I'm going to show you over the next few minutes will give you the chills. This shocking visual will reveal the radicalization going on in the state of Kerala and just how deep the roots have penetrated. In a march carried out by the Kerala government-designated extremist group PFI, a child was heard issuing death threats openly to Christians and Hindus. He was making some very, very pointed insinuations about religions and matters that, quite frankly, children should not be exposed to. The child appears to be that of a PFI sympathizer who was participating in the rally. Listen very closely to what this child says, viewers. He's caught on tape. Listen in. Viewers, you can see in those pictures, as we saw the child chanting those slogans, a large number of PFI workers, activists carrying the PFI flag were walking along, in fact, following the child's lead. Yes, this happened right in the heart of Alleppey. Keep rice ready for last rites. God of death, Yama, is going to visit your home. This is a pointed threat given by a child to Hindus and Christians. He couldn't be more than 10 years old. He ends by saying that if you won't behave yourself, we know how to make you. Listen to another video where this time the threat is much more pointed. Listen in. So these PFI activists, no compunctions about following this child's lead. There is no attempt to ask him to keep quiet or to counsel him or to tell his parents, his guardians, that this is not what a child should be taught to say. Viewers, this is not out of character. The Kerala government itself has called the PFI an extremist group. SDPI rally. SDPI, of course, is just the political wing of the PFI. The NI in its chart sheets has talked about the interconnectedness of these organizations. In the past, the PFI has carried out similar hateful rallies where it has depicted its adversaries in a very negative light. Watch some of these pictures. RSS and Hindus on 2 different occasions were shown in handcuffs, being whipped. Even then, the might of the law was not brought to bear on the PFI SDPI. I want to take you through some of the provocations, some of these hateful rallies that the PFI has been associated with. Hindus and Christians on notice. It's 22nd May 2021. You've seen the pictures of this young child astride his guardian's shoulder, walking down the streets of Alappuzha and chanting all these hateful slogans. But there was a parade of hate in October 26 last year, viewers. Rally endorsing violence against Hindus, showing a person dressed up like Yogi Adityanath being whipped, being beaten. The idea was to show those who wear saffron robes as enemies of Islam. So that's very clear on your screens. Again, in February 2021, viewers, workers dressed in RSS uniforms paraded. Men in RSS uniforms were chained and dragged. And that too was clearly visible. We're going to pull out those visuals. But what's appalling is that till now, the Kerala police is yet to take any firm action, yet to file a case despite strong notice by the Child Rights Panel to register an FIR. That hasn't still happened. We don't quite know what is stopping the Kerala police from arresting all the people who are goading this young child into making very hateful, illegal jibes at other communities. The PFI, on the other hand, has admitted that while the rally was definitely their own and that the child did raise hate slogans, they said that the slogans he was chanting were not approved by the PFI, by the organization itself. Viewers, that is actually very difficult to believe, because you're hearing the cadre actually being prompted by this child. It's not as if the cadre are not in any way chanting or echoing what this young child has been taught to say. In fact, it's quite obvious that there is encouragement for this. The BJP has questioned a free run to those baying for the blood of Christians and Hindus. And the BJP additionally has blamed madrasas for this radicalization. Listen in.
A group called the PFI, which has been branded as extremist recently by the Kerala High Court. Instead of acting on this, the Kerala government allows them a free pass to take out this march of bigotry and hatred. The left parties, which once upon a time said PFI was the avatar of Simi, is allowing them this kind of free run, giving them patronage, defending them. But where is that entire Islamophobia ecosystem, that ecosystem of so-called secularities? Why aren't they taking a position on this?
And look at this little kid who is hardly 10 years talking about death to other communities. How does it happen? I think it's simple. Radicalization in the madrasas, where these kids are mandatorily sent, and of course from there to their houses, radicalization. And this little child has learned, possibly from the madrasa. I mean, this is an extremely dangerous situation. I think both the Congress and the communists should realize that they're playing with fire. It's not really about, vaguely about national security. No, it's right there in front of you. You know, a child threatening. It means it's a question of a whole community out there which has been indoctrinated.
Let me bring in Rahul Ishwar. Rahul Ishwar, how do you view what we have just heard and seen?
Rahul Shivshankarji, you know, as a Malayali who knows the language, it's spine-chilling, painful, sad, and wholeheartedly we should condemn it. Otherwise, we will have a generation which is misled. And accused National Child Rights Commission should actively take a case against the parents of this person. And a 10-year-old, you know, beyond Hindu or Muslim,
they belong to playground, not such political grounds. It is extremely unfortunate, and there should be strong action. The Islamist lineage of thinking should be nipped in the bud. It is anti-Indian Muslim, it is anti-India, anti-human, and we should take strong action. And not even wishy-hogi washed by Popular Front won't be enough. Strong police case and prosecution of the parents and the other people is needed, because this is done to save also that child from extremism. Otherwise, that child may end up in Syria or any other place with this kind of a mindset. We have to save that child also from terrorist incident. It is absolutely unacceptable, and action should be taken again.
Well, that's a very well-made point and a very robust point there by Rahul Ishwar. Viewers, I just want to quietly draw some analogies with you. You have seen visuals of children being turned into soldiers for a particular group of religious fundamentalists. And that's happened in Kashmir. And now you have a situation where in Kerala, you are seeing children being used to spread bigotry. And Majid Haidari, this is precisely what you need to speak up against. The use of children from Kashmir now to Kerala in propagating radicalism, hate, intolerance, I'm sure you will take an evolved stand and you will support me when I say the time has come to dismantle Islamists, end the denial. These are not law and order issues born out of alienation. There is something fundamentally wrong here, and there is an attempt being made to radicalize, to create a ripe atmosphere for a Ghazwa-e-Hind against the nation and its people.
Well, Rahul Saab, I hope you will agree with me on this, that we were born in the country where we as kids all love to sing Nanna Munna Rahi Hu, Desh Ka Sipahi Hu, Bolo Mere Sang Jai Hind. What was this idea of Jai Hind? This was the Hind, the name celebrated by the Muslims and the Mughals who called it Hindustan. But today, both the Muslims and the Mughals are being abused in the country. So the kids of nowadays are forgetting our history because everything is being distorted and Muslims are being pushed to the wall. It is not the fault of this boy. It is the fault of the saffron politics, the bad saffron politics, the communal politics, all introduced by the BJP. We never had such kids prior to 2014, sir. I'm not justifying.
Sir, at least have an outright condemnation.
BJP, sir. No, I condemn the government for this. This never happened prior to 2014. I never saw any boy doing such a bad thing. This is firstly for his parents to look into why has he been so indoctrinated. But then let's look at the ground reality, sir. We have restrictions on what to eat. We have restrictions on azan. We have Gyanvapi issue. We have Qutub Minar issue. We have issues over Aurangzeb, the man who integrated India into one nation. The man who gave India the name Hindustan.
Let us fight it out. Let us spare our children. Let us fight it out. Let us spare our children for this.
Sir, can I say something to you, Majid Saab? There is a young fruit seller's son who is today going to represent his country against South Africa. There is a young Muslim woman who faces the same that you claim, the same alienation, etc., that you claim. Yet she stands there and wins a gold medal and then comes out and says that this is dedicated to other young Muslim women who need to stand up to the obscurantists in my faith. Have you forgotten, Majid Saab? We want soldiers.
I have not forgotten what happened.
We want soldiers
because he was a Muslim. No, I remember. I remember what has been happening to Muslims, sir.
No, sir.
I remember what happened to Shah Rukh Khan, Aryan Khan, Salman Khan.
No. Are you telling me? Okay, one second. Let me bring in Sushil Pandit, and I'll bring Rahul Ishwar back again. But Sushil Pandit, how do you view this defense that is being placed by Majid Hydari tonight?
Rahul, I am not surprised at all. I've heard from Majid Hydari on enough occasions. This is very predictable. But between you and your viewers, we have wasted 10 years in gentle chiding and ritual criticism of PFI. If I remember right, a certain Professor Matthews had chopped off in Kerala for putting a certain question in a question paper, and that happened before 2014. His wife committed suicide later. They were abandoned by society, even his own college. Now the point is, we have been making arguments and advocacies on behalf of PFI, whereas we should have had PFI on the very first day, and we are still dragging up. We have engendered a monster amongst us, and we are wondering what to do with it. This is a mindset, and we need to crush it in the very seed form itself, nip it in the bud. But we are seeing it literally flourish and become a monster. And tomorrow it will be too late. It has already shown its fangs several times over. I don't know what we are waiting for, what the central government is waiting for, what the state government is waiting for. Just ritual criticism and transgressions once in a while is
a longer view. What is the pathology here, Rahul Ishwar? What is the pathology at work here?
Let me be very honest.
You know, you have Majid Haidari who justifies this.
I know. I was pained to hear that. I never thought anybody could justify. See, 2 points. One, we are proud to have the third oldest holy mosque in the world after Holy Mecca and Medina, where we proudly say our king went to Holy Mecca and met Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have great, like, even today, we have greats like Rasul Pukuti, who is from Muslim community, who went to the Oscar and said, I am from the land of Omkara. No, we are such an integrated society where even, temples and mosques celebrate festivals together. We have the holiest of Islamic shrine in Shabrimala, and we go together. There is no alienation in Kerala. Kerala is a heaven for tourism. Even in Kerala, they are doing this. That means it is Islamism or extreme Wahhabi Islamism, which want to dominate others, subjugate others, and destroy others. Let's be honest about it.
Peer Vikarul Aslam, respond to Rahul Ishwar. He's calling out what he believes is uncompromising.
I think Mr. Rahul Ishwar doesn't know that PM Modi got an award from Wahhabis in the Emirates. In Dubai, PM Modi was given the highest prestigious civil award that can be given to anybody by the Wahhabis. The same Wahhabis he is calling out and he is rejecting on national TV. I think PM Modi should give the award back to those Islamists who gave him that award. Secondly, I would like to, by the same logic you applied on this hate speech, if we apply the same logic, if the law enforcement agencies in India would have been free and independent, I think most of the BJP ministers, Shiv Sena activists and Hindu Mahasabha activists should be behind jail. They have been propagating this polarization and this divide among communities from decades now. Now they are in power. Now
two
they are
wrongs
using
doesn't make a right. The two negativities doesn't make a right.
I am not going to justify using a kid. Nobody. It's a basic logic, common sense. Sir, we're not going to use a kid and allow that. And I reject that. We condemn this. But at the same point, when there are Trishul shown at Muslims that we will not let you go into the mosque, all the mosques are being claimed. Everything is being claimed from Muslims. Where do they go? You have alienated them, isolated them. This frustration that is coming out is because
Peer Vikarul Aslam, let me say something to you, sir. By that yardstick, that yardstick, please. Aslam Saab, 1 minute. By that yardstick, Sushil Pandit would have grown into a terrorist. By that yardstick, a large number of Kashmiri Hindu children would have picked up the gun. They would have formed terror organizations. What greater sense of alienation than what was suffered by Kashmiri Hindus? Mr. Pandit, am I wrong?
No, I don't think they get it, Rahul. They would use anything to rationalize this violence. They know that earlier they had to force us through violence, a partition. We've been forced to a partition through violence. We've been forced to convert through violence. We've been forced to relinquish our holiest of places through violence.
Sushil, why this is bigotry on your part?
They think they can get away with violence on your part.
You condemn the PFI, but you don't speak against Bajrang Dal or RSS. This is really bigotry, sir.
Can I respond to this, Mr.
In the last 30 years, did we ever say Mandir ke niche masjid in Kashmir mein? Never. Though there are some temples which we have masjids in Kashmir. But we have never spoken about that, sir.
And if need be, you get a taste of your own medicine.
Well, viewers, look, I cannot believe that an attempt is being made to rationalize the indoctrination of young children. Viewers, I think a Lakshman Rekha has to be drawn. It has to be drawn not in the sifting sands of political rhetoric, but in stone. And that line must not be crossed. There must be consequences for doing so. The Kerala government must act and lead by example. Big explosive exclusive. Viewers, on the show this evening, what do we know? Viewers, Times Now has accessed a British document, a British era 1936 affidavit, which comes out and makes 2 or 3 very big claims. Number one, that the Gyanvapi mosque is not sanctioned because it does not stand on Waqf land. Yes, viewers, it does not stand on Waqf land in Kashi, in Varanasi. Secondly, viewers, that the British have very, very, very carefully recorded the claims that were being made by the Hindu side and have come out in this affidavit which was submitted to a court hearing this entire matter, that there is and there remains Hindu architectural, temple architectural remains under the Gyanvapi mosque. This also renews the debate, viewers, dramatically on what actually seems to now suggest as an unbroken tradition. If the mosque itself is only a place to pray and not worship, then this completely alters this story dramatically. First, let me bring in Pranesh, who's going to walk us through this document, and then Harish, who has actually accessed this document that we are breaking. Pranesh.
That's right, Rahul. All those people who believe that whatever is going around in the Gyanvapi case is tamasha should take a pause and go through the documents put out by Times Now. We've dug deep to find out the civil suit number 62 and look at the year 1936. Gyanvapi well and compound is visible from my house. Inside the compound are places of Hindu worship. These places are as follows. After the bath in Gangas, we go to the people tree. They were worshipping Gangeshwar beneath people tree, which is to the east of the mosque. After that, we worship the image of Radha-Krishan. After going on the wooden ladder in the house in which Vyas lives, then we again come into the compound and worship that joint image of Shiva and Dasrath known as Gauri Shankar. After that, we worship Tarkeshwar near Gauri Shankar's image. After that, Nandkeshwar, then Mahakaleshwar beneath the people tree. To sum up the argument here, a petition was filed by the Government of India, then Secretary, and he said that this is a government land, a claim which was dismissed in 1936.
Well, that is dramatic. And if you just scroll down, viewers, very, very importantly, this affidavit also rules out that this is Waqf property. So as such, the mosque, the Gyanvapi mosque, does not stand on consecrated ground. And we all know that Islamic law makes it very clear that only mosque which stands on consecrated ground is treated as a place to offer prayers. I want to bring in Dr. Subramanian Swamy as well as Harish, who broke this story a short while back. Dr. Swamy, this is a dramatic turn of affairs and events. Yes. Because if this is really not a mosque that is standing on consecrated ground, it suggests that this was always Hindu. It has remained so unbroken.
Well, I think it only adds to the already discovered, that in the court had gone into the mosque and found all kinds of parts of the temple there, Shivaling and so many other things. This only further adds to it that this is this was obviously, after all, even building a mosque where a temple, whether later on they made it into Waqf or board property or not, is itself against the Islamic law. And so therefore, from very beginning, the whole Islamic capture of that temple territory was illegal and totally against the law. So I think this discovery is further strengthening it, and I think it's about time that the Supreme Court took up the 1991 Act and set it aside for the sake of the these facts.
Well, Dr.
I don't think that it can be. We still are bound by. We are still bound by the 1991 Act because it says very clearly, as it stood whatever whatever religious places of worship stood.
Yes. Can't be changed, can't be altered, the status can't be changed. Yes.
And I think the Prime Minister must definitely get
very important, viewers. What Dr. Swami is saying, very important. Thank you, Dr. Swami. Let me go straight across to Harish for more on this. Harish, you broke this story, you accessed this affidavit. This is a big news.
Yes, Times Now has accessed details of the 1936 proceedings in a British court. It goes on to show that Hindu side had in fact won first round in 1936. Going by the documents filed in the Supreme Court, Hindu side had won first round in 1936 when a court under British rule rejected the plea to declare that the Gyanvapi mosque was a Waqf property. Secretary of State for India had filed an affidavit saying the land on which mosque stands belongs to government and has never been dedicated nor could have been dedicated to the mosque. Hindu side will be raising this victory in British court before a Varanasi court. This is the importance of it, Rahul. From the affidavit reproduced in Hindu side's affidavit before Supreme Court and Varanasi court, in paragraph 2, it has been stated that the entire plot of land on which mosque, Pakka courtyard, stray grave, staircase in front of gate, together with Pakka enclosures all around and a people tree stand belongs to the government and has never been dedicated nor could have been dedicated to the mosque or Waqf. This is a big claim in the affidavit.
This is a major claim.
The idols and the temple which stand there exist since long before the advent of Mohammedan rule in India. The other allegations made in the said paragraphs are denied. It is submitted that the non-Muslims have been using the land for their religious purposes as a matter of right and have got a right of way over it. The allegation that they were permitted by persons in charge of the mosque is unfounded and baseless. So
this is very big. So viewers,
contention by the government of India
yes.
in 1936 after the.
So how did their control over the Gyanvapi mosque become so entrenched? Obviously, viewers, Congress regimes both at the center and at the state level after independence looked the other way and allowed the Muslim side to consolidate an illegal hold over this land. I leave it at this, viewers. Lots more coming up. Don't go away.
Times Now. Action begins here.
क्या पूछूं आपसे कि आपका जो स्टे था कांग्रेस पार्टी में, ये शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट था कि हॉट एंड सावर था?
जब राजनीति में कोई फैसले होते हैं मैडम जी, तब एक बात बहुत तय होती है कि लोगों के हित के लिए, जनता की सेवा के लिए ये फैसला होना चाहिए और उसी को देखते हुए ये फैसला लिया गया था। लेकिन जहां गए, जिस कांग्रेस पार्टी पर भरोसा किया, उनके नेताओं पर जो भरोसा किया, उससे एक बात तो तय हो गई थी कि ना ये जन सेवा करना चाहते और ना कोई करता है उसको रोकने का काम करते हैं। जो जन सेवा करना चाहता है उसको रोक दो, हम नहीं करना चाहते तो हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ। और ये काम हम नहीं कर सकते थे। हम आंदोलन के जरिए निकले थे, लोगों ने हम पर उम्मीद देखी थी, हम पर भरोसा किया था और हमने कहीं ना कहीं गुजरात के भीतर एक अच्छी उम्मीद को खड़ा करने का काम किया था, जो कांग्रेस को इनडायरेक्टली डायरेक्टली 2017 में फायदा किया था और मजबूत विपक्ष की भूमिका में आई थी। लेकिन आज कहां हुआ, ना आपको मीटिंग में बुलाते हैं, आपको वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट बना दिया लेकिन कोई काम आपका तय ना किया। कहीं ना कहीं सिर्फ अपमान। और हमारे परिवार में और हमारे कई साथी कहते हैं कि अगर जहां सम्मान ना हो वहां अपमान नहीं होना चाहिए।
तो हार्दिक जी, ये सब आपको पहले से पता नहीं था? क्योंकि 2017 आप पॉलिटिक्स में आए थे और 2019 का चुनाव हुआ था, आप बहुत जगह साथ साथ घूमे थे क्योंकि आपने फॉर्मली कांग्रेस पार्टी ज्वाइन कर ली थी। और हमेशा से लोग यही कहते हैं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी एक प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी ओन्ड बाय एक गांधी परिवार है। तो आपको पहले ये पता नहीं था या अंदर जाके कुछ ऐसा पता चला जो आप चौंक गए और इतना सरप्राइज हो गए?
देखिए नविका जी, मैं 2019 में पार्टी ज्वाइन किया था। 2015 से लेकर 2019 तक मैं इंडिपेंडेंट रहा। जनता की आंदोलन किए, जनता की सेवा की, और हमारे आंदोलन के कारण अनेक योजना गुजरात के लोगों को मिली। कांग्रेस में ज्वाइन होने का रीजन ये था कि हमें ऐसा था कि यार हमारा कोई पॉलिटिकल फैमिली है नहीं, पॉलिटिकल परिवार नहीं है, चलो राहुल गांधी जी हमें प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, इसीलिए हम पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ज्वाइन किया। पहले दिन से जो विपरीत परिस्थिति हमारे साथ होती थी, हर दिन हर मुद्दे को लेकर हम राहुल जी को मुद्दा बताते रहते कि आज इन लोगों ने ये किया है, आप थोड़ा देखिएगा। कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं, कोई जवाब नहीं। लगातार हम अपनी परेशानी
Well, hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive with me, Meghna Dekha. First up on the bulletin, the focus continues to be the Gyanvapi tussle in the Varanasi District Court today, which has already started hearing the issue. Now, the biggest hearing, which could well set in motion a series of historic events. In light of this survey, which is conducted so far, where a shivling allegedly has been claimed to have emerged from the Wuzukhana in the Gyanvapi Mosque complex. Well, the Hindu side today had a very simple appeal. Let us worship the shivling as well as the other Hindu deities, as well as the goddesses who have been there, discovered in the basement and the western wall of the Gyanvapi complex. Now, for this, they say that their plea about the survey should be heard first. But the council for the mosque side has insisted that the only plea that should be heard on priority is whether the Hindu side can ask for an extended survey, and their council also reiterated that the plea should be dismissed as it's violative of the Places of Worship Act of 1991, which made many ask why this renewed attempt to delay the devotees' access to their gods. Listen in to what the two opposing councils had to say.
The Supreme Court had directed in the last hearing that the application of Order 7 Rule 11 has to be taken on priority basis. But apart from that, what I had submitted before the Honorable Court was that yes, Order 7 Rule 11 must be taken on priority basis, but there are allied issues concerned with Order 7 Rule 11. Order 7 Rule 11 cannot be decided in isolation, and therefore the report of the Commission has also to be appreciated and taken on record while deciding the issue that whether Places of Worship Act is attracted or not, and what is the religious character of the property in question. So therefore this was my respectful submission. The Honorable Court has said that it will decide a procedure of the chain of hearings tomorrow.
जनपद न्यायाधीश ने हमें सुना रूल 711 पे बहस के लिए विपक्षी मुस्लिम पक्ष के अधिवक्ता ने अपनी बात रही, और आज कई पूरक प्रार्थना पत्र जिसमें यहाँ के पूर्व महंत ने भी प्रार्थना वहाँ पे पूजा स्तवन राग भोग आरती का अधिकार मांगने का प्रार्थना पत्र दिया। और वर्शिप एक्ट की अभी बात तो नहीं आई है, वो कल ही सुना जाएगा। उसको माननीय न्यायाधीश महोदय ने कहा कि चूंकि फाइल आज हमारे कोर्ट में आई है तो इसका अध्ययन भी हम कर लेते हैं और कल इस पर निर्णय देंगे।
But let me go across to Dr. Swami, who is joining us. And Dr. Swami, you are a legal as well, which is why my first question to you. As we have all seen in the case of Ayodhya, for example, Tariq pe Tariq, there is a possibility that it could be a long drawn out legal battle over the Gyanvapi mosque complex. Do you think that the access of Hindu devotees who are now claiming that there is videographic as well as pictorial evidence as well as a survey backing their claims that there is a shivling-like structure there, that their access at least till the final verdict comes should not be blocked?
Absolutely. Legally speaking, there's nothing to prevent Hindus crossing into the territory where the mosque is standing, and especially in view of the fact that the mosque itself is partly consists of the temple which was pre-existing. So the only question of 1991 Act is whether the Hindus can take over that property and convert it into a temple. That, of course, would require that would not be permissible under the Act, and therefore the Act has to be scrapped
because it's unconstitutional. It violates Article 32 of the Constitution, where it says you can't even go to the court on that matter. And so therefore, the Hindu groups are in very good position as far as going and visiting the parts which are clearly from a Hindu temple, and there's no law which can bar it. But in terms of acquiring the whole area and then reconverting it to a temple, that I do believe that our 1991 Act has to be first scrapped.
Dr. Swami, it's very interesting that you mentioned the Place of Worship Act of 1991, because there is already Ashwini Upadhyay's plea which is pending in the Supreme Court. There are notices which have been about the constitutionality.
My plea was first filed. He filed it afterwards, and notice has both the petitions.
So, as of yet, that act still stands. Even though its constitutionality has been questioned, that act still stands. Is that something which may go against the Hindu side? Because the Muslim side, citing this very act, is saying that let's discuss the maintainability of the suit itself. Let's discuss 7/11 first and then anything else.
No, the BJP can introduce a bill to scrap the act, because the act was passed by Parliament.
Right.
Parliament has power to scrap acts. So I would certainly recommend that in this upcoming session of Parliament, this act be scrapped, and then of course the bar is completely gone.
Is the BJP likely to do that in the upcoming parliamentary session, Dr. Swami?
I would like it to happen, and of course I've got a court case like Mr. Upadhyay, but I filed it much earlier, and that is there. But that will be a long process. This one is a straightforward thing, that a bill is brought in to say that we are withdrawing that 1991 Act and make it null and void. Then of course it's immediately possible for the Hindus to get what they want, namely to build a temple where presently the mosque stands.
One quick word, one of the contentions which is being made by Ashwini Upadhyay is that the Places of Worship Act excludes a mosque, which is not a place of worship, it is a place for prayer, even as per the Muslims. Do you think that there may be an exemption along those lines?
Those are question of interpretation of the Act, and that's a process that can be contested.
Okay.
As far as deleting the Act by a parliamentary procedure, that is basically because the absolute majority of BJP in both houses, we can do it within half an hour.
Oh, that's huge news point which is coming in from Dr. Swami. Appreciate you joining us. Dr. Swami has said that he highly recommends that the BJP bring about a bill, get it pushed through in the parliament, scrapping the contents of the Places of Worship Act, which puts a bar in changing the religious nature of a monument from 1947. That's the cutoff. Let me go across to our other panelists as well. Namit Saxena, advocate on record with the Supreme Court, is here on the show. Rahul Ishwar, an activist, as well as Maulana Ejaz Athar is joining us, an Islamist scholar, as well as Bilal Khan, lawyer, as well as a political analyst. Mr. Bilal Khan, if I can come to you first. You just heard what Dr. Swami has said, saying that the astha of Hindus cannot be shackled. If this is an ongoing case, we are ready to abide by the courts as and when the verdict comes. But in the interim, let the Hindus pray.
Yes, Mr. Swami is dead right. No violation of 1991 Act, Places of Worship Act, is totally against the Parliament and Supreme Court judgment. And that's why I'm saying, क्योंकि आप इस चीज को समझ सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से इन लोगों ने एक साजिश के तहत, मतलब आप ये जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट को भी नहीं मानेंगे ना पार्लियामेंट को मानेंगे।
ये किसकी साजिश है? 3 सेंचुरी से ये डिबेट डिस्कशन ये चल रहा है। ये साजिश किसकी है?
ये साजिश जो है, तो लोग यहाँ पर हुड़दंग मचा रहे हैं,
कौन लोग
नारे लगा रहे हैं। यहाँ पर जो है, जो हमारा कानून है ना, जो हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, को ब्रेक करने की जो कोशिश की जा रही है ना,
कौन लोग? ये लीगल केस है, कानून कौन तोड़ रहा है? बिलाल खान
जाकर कदम बचाने का काम करते हैं।
कौन कर रहा है ये? Let me come to you, Rahul Ishwar. There is a wide ambiguous charge being made कि ये लोग बिगाड़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं माहौल, and that someone, ये लोग again, they are trying to break the law and go against the constitution at a time when it's there in the case. The case is there in the courts.
Please remember, Article 25 is a fundamental right. It is a right to worship. And even with 1991 Places of Worship Act, nothing stopped from ascertaining the characteristics of a particular place of worship. And there is a more serious point here. I respect our Muslim brothers' insecurity, inhibition. So people like Maulana sir, why don't our community leaders sit and talk it out? As you know, that Kashi, Ayodhya and Mathura are very sacred for Hindu communities. It's a stated fact of history that many temples were broken. But there are some special sensitivities involved. Nobody is saying we are taking revenge on history, but some kind of reconciliation with history should also be done. So can't we talk it out like mature adults? Can't there be a consensus, a middle ground, where we can talk about some very sensitive places and there can be a mutual respecting consensus? Beyond judicial confrontation, can't we have a reconciliation?
By the BJP and RSS, the
plea is not by Mr. Bilal Khan. The plea is not by either the BJP or the RSS. Let me just point out the facts in the case. So Maulana Ejaz Athar, if I can come to you, Rahul Ishwar बोल रहे हैं कि कुछ एक middle ground हो सकता है. We can show respect to each other. अगर right to worship है, right to practice your religion है, and to worship the gods that you want, सर्वे में बोल रहे हैं, जो court appointed commissioners है, advocate commissioner ने बोला है कि there is a shivling like structure. जब तक verdict नहीं आ जाता, तब तक daily prayers allow क्यों नहीं हो सकता? मौलाना जी।
अब भाई देखिए, ये सारी चीजों को तय करने का जो पावर है वो कोर्ट के पास है। जब मामला सब जुडिस है, कोर्ट के अंदर है, एक कोर्ट में नहीं है बल्कि तीन कोर्ट्स के अंदर मामला चल रहा है। डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट है, हाई कोर्ट है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट है। तो जो भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहेगा या जो भी डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट कहेगा, उसको तमाम भारतवासियों को, देशवासियों को मानना चाहिए।
ये मानेंगे? आपको लगता है मौलाना जी? अयोध्या के बाद तो ये बोला था बाबरी मस्जिद थी, है और हमेशा रहेगी, ये बोला गया था सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर के बाद भी। मौलाना जी मानेंगे ये ऑर्डर, जो भी ऑर्डर आए?
देखिए, हम लोगों ने हमेशा कोर्ट के जो ऑर्डर है उसका एहतराम किया है और कोर्ट के ऑर्डर को माना है। हमारी पूरी हिस्ट्री यही रही है कि हमने कभी कोर्ट के ऑर्डर का उल्लंघन नहीं किया है। जो कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर किया उसको माना है। कोर्ट का जो भी ऑर्डर होगा हम उसको मानेंगे। एक भारतीय होने के नाते, एक इंडियन सिटीजन होने के नाते कोर्ट का ऑर्डर हमारे लिए एक्सेप्टेबल।
आपको लगता है तब तक हिंदूज को अलाउ किया जाए, जहां पर शिवलिंग है वहां पर डेली प्रेयर्स किया जाए?
देखिए, ये तो काम कोर्ट का है, ये तो काम, और कि वहां
तो इसमें मिडिल ग्राउंड आपको नहीं दिख रहा? नमित सक्सेना, यू मस्ट एक्सप्लेन टू अस, under the articles which are available and constitutional fundamental rights which are available to every citizen of India, the right to practice your religion is one of the fundamental rights and it is guaranteed, isn't it? And why shouldn't it apply to this case?
See, article, you are right, but Article 25 guarantees this. But Article 25 is not something which is absolute in nature. The reasonable restrictions are Article 25 itself, which includes that, public order, morality, health, and, other provisions are part of the Constitution. So Article 25, although it's a fundamental right, but it is not something which is absolute in nature. So there are restrictions on it, one. Second, regarding the question which I put to other panelists also, I take liberty to answer that.
Go ahead.
See, the issue is whether, Hindus can be permitted to start worshipping or to continue worshipping at a particular site. I don't think that is viable at this stage. See, because that would virtually amount to allowing the suit. So that can't be allowed at this stage, legally speaking.
Okay.
So what the court has done is, the court has rather said that we will first, let the court also go through whatever material is there, and the court will devise a procedure as to which application is to be heard first, which is the right thing to do. So let the court decide it whatever way the court wants to hear the matter, and then accordingly it will decide. But till then, let the court devise a procedure which is to be followed in trying the suit. I don't think the suit can be virtually allowed by allowing that,
So let the due procedure continue in the courts. However, there are the likes of Rahul Ishwar who are saying that perhaps a middle ground can be reached where we respect each other's religious sentiments as well. Why are Hindus being blocked from performing daily puja there, is the plea that the Hindu side has submitted. Of course, it's all there in the courts now. We are waiting for the very latest to come out of the Varanasi courtroom. The hearing will perhaps resume tomorrow. At least tomorrow we'll have a clearer answer on that. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. With that, a short break here on Blueprint. Lots more on the other side. Don't go anywhere. We'll tell you about how this survey of Gyanvapi has opened up floodgates when it comes to other cities as well.
Times now. Action begins here.
For the last 2 years, the world has been relentlessly fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. As the countries across the globe prioritize vaccinations to keep the next wave of COVID at bay, India also rolled out precautionary jabs this year to achieve herd immunity against the virus. While COVID has not risen substantially in India in the last few months, the pandemic has not yet faded. India has remained on guard, but vaccination among children remains low and is significantly less talked about.
Immunizing the kids will not only check the spread of the asymptomatic infections, who can act as silent hosts for the virus, and which will lead to again spread in the society, but again it can also mitigate the severity, the intensity of the infection in children. Now that the schools have reopened, it is very important that the children are vaccinated. A lot of parents are still hesitant about sending the children to school, but definitely children should no longer stay at home. They should definitely go to school. And so to vaccinate them, by vaccinating them, we can allay this fear in the parents' mind. Almost 40% of pediatric deaths below the age of 20 years were in the age group of 0 to 9 years. Majority of infection in children are asymptomatic infection. Almost 70 to 80% of children have very minimal infections or they remain asymptomatic. Want to check the spread of the virus. Almost 60 to 65% of the adult population has been fully vaccinated with the successful ongoing vaccination program. So if you want to take up the figure to a much higher level, say 80 to 90%, it is important that the children are advocated the vaccine, and that is possibly the only way to end this pandemic.
Welcome back. Now, the Gyanvapi survey has opened the floodgates in several other cities as well, where there are similar demands now coming to the fore. In fact, on the outskirts of Mangaluru, there are traces of a temple reportedly have been found. Last month, during renovation of the Jummah Masjid in Malali, a Hindu-like architecture as per the Hindu right wing was found during the renovations. Now, the partially damaged pillar, which was found inside the mosque premises, Hindu groups have been saying that it looks akin to Hindu architecture, that of a mandir. Now, they are insisting that they are going to carry out a ritual, and this is going to be on Wednesday, to detect divinity in this area. This development, of course, has triggered off a massive political fight as well.
No, I have not seen that, but I have seen the videos of that, where clearly when they tried to repair that mosque, when they started to when they took away some portion of the mosque, the temple is been appeared there because the structure of the temple has come out.
And I appreciate all religious people of that village, Malali village, who have very clearly stood by the Jummah Masjid people, stating that this Jummah Masjid was from more than hundreds of years it was there. And all Hindu, Muslim, Christians in that village all are united. Outsiders who doesn't know the history and who are not familiar to that place, they have got some suspect doubts. They have approached the DC, and the district administration will give the justice, and the issue will be solved very soon.
Now, the ruins adjacent to the mosque were found after a JCB was used to renovate and clear the debris of the mosque premises. Now, this mosque is believed to be close to 200 years old, but now demands are growing for this land to be given up for a temple instead. Listen in to what fringe group have been saying.
क्या उधर मंदिर मिला है और उसको कोई उधर अंदर नहीं जाने का है, कोई रिनोवेशन काम नहीं करने का एक कोर्ट का आदेश है, आ गया है। विश्व हिंदू परिषद उसको स्वागत करता है। इसलिए अभी हमने डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को हमने मांग किया है, हमारा डिमांड है जल्दी से जल्द वो पुरातत्व विभाग से उसको जांच करो और वो मंदिर क्या उधर मिला है प्राचीन हिंदू मंदिर, वो हिंदुओं को छोड़ दो।
ऐसा जो मड़ली का इश्यू है या जो ये कौन होते हैं राइट विंग लोग जाकर उधर जाना, एंटर करना, उधर हंगामा करना, एक कौन अथॉरिटी देते हैं? तो इसका अगर जो भी करना है, जो भी पूछताछ करना है, उसको गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज है, डिपार्टमेंट है, रेवेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट है, वो लोग पूछना चाहिए। ये लोग जो राइट विंग लोग जो जाकर जो हंगामा करते हैं, ये कंडेम करते हैं, पुलिस इनको रोकना है।
Well, with that, some big breaking news which is coming in. The entire Mandir discovery row in Karnataka is now snowballing. Now the left has jumped in. They have blamed the BJP and the RSS to divide the nation. That's their chant. Listen in.
So it's a dangerous move. Dangerous move. RSS very consciously is trying to crop up such kind of issues. Now they will say every mosque is having a temple beneath it. It's a very concerted move, planned attempts to divide the country and the people.
Well, with that, a short break. Don't go anywhere. We're returning in 2 minutes.
Times now. Action begins here.
be checkmated? How will trading ties between Quad partners be boosted? I'll be bringing you all the latest updates and insights right here from Tokyo as far as Prime Minister Modi's historic tour of Japan is concerned. Only on Times Now.
Times Now. Action begins here.
क्या पूछूं आपसे कि आपका जो स्टे था कांग्रेस पार्टी में, ये शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट था कि हॉट एंड सावर था?
जब जब राजनीति में कोई फैसले होते हैं मैडम जी, तब एक बात बहुत तय होती है कि लोगों के हित के लिए, जनता की सेवा के लिए ये फैसला होना चाहिए, और उसी को देखते हुए ये फैसला लिया गया था। लेकिन जहां गए, जिस कांग्रेस पार्टी पर भरोसा किया, उनके नेताओं पर जो भरोसा किया, उससे एक बात तो तय हो गई थी कि ना ये जन सेवा करना चाहते हो, ना कोई करता है उसको रोकने का काम करते हैं। जो जन सेवा करना चाहता है उसको रोक दो, हम नहीं करना चाहते तो हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ। और ये काम हम नहीं कर सकते थे। हम आंदोलन के जरिए निकले थे, लोगों ने हम पर उम्मीद देखी थी, हम पर भरोसा किया था, और हमने कहीं ना कहीं गुजरात के भीतर एक अच्छी उम्मीद को खड़ा करने का काम किया था, जो कांग्रेस को इनडायरेक्टली डायरेक्टली 2017 में फायदा किया था और मजबूत विपक्ष की भूमिका में आई थी। लेकिन आज कहां हुआ? ना आपको मीटिंग में बुलाते हैं, आपको वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट बना दिया, लेकिन कोई काम आपका तय ना किया। कहीं ना कहीं सिर्फ अपमान। और हमारे परिवार में और हमारे कई साथी कहते हैं कि अगर जहां सम्मान ना हो वहां अपमान नहीं होना चाहिए।
तो हार्दिक जी, ये सब आपको पहले से पता नहीं था? क्योंकि 2017 आप पॉलिटिक्स में आए थे और 2019 का चुनाव हुआ था। आप बहुत जगह साथ साथ घूमे थे, क्योंकि आपने फॉर्मली कांग्रेस पार्टी ज्वाइन कर ली थी। और हमेशा से लोग यही कहते हैं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी एक प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी ओन्ड बाय एक गांधी परिवार है। तो आपको पहले ये पता नहीं था, या अंदर जाके कुछ ऐसा पता चला जो आप चौंक गए और इतना सरप्राइज हो गए?
देखिए नविका जी, मैं 2019 में पार्टी ज्वाइन किया था। 2015 से लेकर 2019 तक मैं इंडिपेंडेंट रहा, जनता की आंदोलन किए, जनता की सेवा की, और हमारे आंदोलन के कारण अनेक योजना गुजरात के लोगों को मिली। कांग्रेस में ज्वाइन होने का रीजन ये था कि हमें ऐसा था कि यार हमारा कोई पॉलिटिकल फैमिली है नहीं, पॉलिटिकल परिवार नहीं है, चलो राहुल गांधी जी हमें प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, इसीलिए हम
Good evening and welcome. You're watching The Nation Wants to Know with me, Padmaja Joshi. A big debate has been kicked off yet again by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, who, credited with modernization of madrasas, now says the very word should cease to exist. Should it? Let's get you started with the headlines. After 45 minutes of hearing, District Judge reserves decision on Hindu side's plea for more survey and access. Muslim side wants the petition junk. Will devotees get access for darshan? The temple side says court will need to decide if Worship Act applies to Gyanvapi Masjid before deciding the plea for prayers being allowed. Now a call for survey in Mathura as well. Hindus seek appointment of a surveyor, plea for appointment before vacation of courts. BJP backs plan to hold rituals outside Mangaluru Masjid complex. Claim temple-like ruins have been found during renovation there. Kerala governor's warning about dangerous PFI and AIDS bears out in public. SDPI activists shockingly caught on camera giving indirect death threats to Hindus and Christians. What's worse, the activist is barely a child. Assam Chief Minister stirs a row, says madrasas should cease to exist for backing regressive thought. Congress slams him for deviating from real issues.
आदत बन गई है, मुझे मक्खन पर लकीर करने में मजा नहीं आता है, मैं पत्थर पर लकीर करता हूं।
India is scripting a story for change. A Prime Minister tells Indian diaspora in Tokyo, calls Japan India's natural partner, holds high-level meeting with a series of Japanese CEOs. Cries of "Dekho dekho kaun aaya, India ka sher aaya" ring out as Prime Minister meets with the Indian diaspora. Say he has given Indians abroad pride in their identity. US President Joe Biden draws red line for China at the beginning of Quad meeting. Says US will respond militarily if Taiwan is invaded. Our madrasa is stopping meritorious Muslim children from becoming doctors, engineers and really giving wing to their ambition. Is an education devoid of science and math holding them back from a bright future? Is it a violation actually of their right? Is it depriving them of modern education? As per the Chief Minister of Assam, it is. Himanta Biswa Sarma, never one to shy away from controversy, yesterday said that the word madrasa should cease to exist. For him, the term stands for depriving children of their right to choose their future by pushing them into the dark ages.
भाई साहब, ये madrasa शब्द ही विलुप्त हो जाना चाहिए। जब तक ये madrasa दिमाग में घूमते रहेगा, तब तक बच्चा कभी डॉक्टर इंजीनियर नहीं बन सकता है। अगर बच्चा को आप स्कूल में जाने का समय आप पूछ लेता है कि बेटा तुम मद्रासा जा रहा है, तुम जुनाब बनेगा, इस रास्ते से तुम डॉक्टर नहीं बनेगा, तो कोई बच्चा मद्रासा नहीं जाएगा। मद्रासा में तो दाखिल किया जाता है वायलेटिंग ह्यूमन राइट्स, किसी वो रास्ता बंद हो जाता है। तो आप जरूर कुरान पढ़ाइए, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन सबसे ज्यादा पढ़ाइए साइंस, मैथ्स, बायोलॉजी, बोटानी, जूलॉजी। तो इसीलिए मद्रासा सब विलुप्त हो जाना चाहिए, नॉर्मल एजुकेशन होना चाहिए। और घर में आप खूब आपका धर्म पोथी पढ़ाइए, पूरा 2 to 3 घंटा धर्म पोथी पढ़ाइए, लेकिन स्कूल में ऐसा ही शिक्षा दीजिए जो शिक्षा से आपका बेटा डॉक्टर और इंजीनियर बन सकता है, प्रोफेसर बन सकता है, साइंटिस्ट बन सकता है। जो आप बोल रहे हैं मुसलमान लोग कुरान कंठस्थ कर रहा है, तो इसलिए उनमें बहुत ज्यादा मेरिट होता है। ये सारा मुसलमान भाई हिंदू था, कोई एज ए मुसलमान ये धरती में नहीं आया, भारत का धरती में सब हिंदू ही था।
Now, Himanta's party also has wholly endorsed what he said. The BJP said the choice is simple. India needs more Nikat Zareens, not hate preachers like Zakir Naik.
Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Chief Minister of Assam, is batting for modernity and opportunity. But on the other hand, you have the practitioners of vote bank politics and cynical Islamophobia lobby that wants Muslims to be trapped forever in the prism of madrasas and identity. They want more Zakir Naiks, whereas the country needs more Nikat Zareens. And that is what Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma is advocating for, that Muslims should get an opportunity, access to education that will allow them to become doctors, engineers, lawyers. And for that, they need modern education. They need progressive education.
हमें ऐसी एजुकेशन देनी है जो साइंटिफिक हो, जिसका आधार हो, जहाँ रीजनिंग हो। तो वो साइंटिफिक एजुकेशन जो यहाँ की एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है उसके अनुसार ही आ सकती है, ना कि मदरसों के में जो एक ब्रीडिंग ग्राउंड है, यहाँ पर जो है कम्युनलिज्म पढ़ाया जाता है, यहाँ पर दूसरे धर्मों को नीचे दिखाने की बात जो होती है। और ये हमने अभी जो एक चर्चा चल रही है पूरी दुनिया में सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर, उससे ये बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो रहा है।
However, for the opposition, this attack on madrasas is born out of prejudice and Islamophobia. Listen in.
इस वक्त कंपटीशन चल रहा है कि हमें गुजरात मॉडल हिंदुस्तान को बनाना है, हमें उत्तर प्रदेश मॉडल बनाना है। उनका इस वक्त मुकाबला हो रहा है एक दूसरे के साथ कि कौन ज्यादा से ज्यादा मुसलमानों को तंग करेगा, मुसलमानों को खुदा ना खास्ता नेस नाबूद करने में पहल करेगा।
They want to destroy whatever language, culture, faith, practice, way of life of Muslim. Every aspect of Muslims are being attacked by the RSS people.
He's a chief minister, he is free to take that decision. But he has no respect for the Constitution of India. More than that, I will not comment, because he is a new convert to BJP, and he talks all sorts of things to please, like sycophants, which I have nothing to say about it.
All right, joining us now on the show, we have Negat Abbas, political analyst, Mohammad Asif Hussain Sohail, political analyst, advocate Talha Amir Rashadi, spokesperson of Rashtriya Ulema Council, and Tawseef Ahmed, lawyer and political analyst. I want to start by asking you, Negat Abbas, why should madrasas cease to exist? The Congress is saying everyone has right to education, even the children who go to madrasas.
No, absolutely, Padmaja. Who's opposing it? All what we're saying right now is that madrasa in the modern world is absolutely like communicating over letters when we have the facility of the mobile phone. And I'm not opposing the Islamic education here, but we need to understand, and we all need to come together against the forced propaganda to ignore the modern education, the need of the modern education in the Muslim society. What we are seeing today is that people are obligating, there are lots of clowns in Muslim society, and I want to say, mark them as clowns because they are obligating the children to, take the education which is the need of the generation, which is the need of the hour, which is the modern education. They want to obligate and send them to the madrasas and let them be the Kuweka members, because that is going to stop the development and prosperity of the Indian Muslim person.
Why make anyone Kuweka member?
It is not limited to only females, Padmaja. Let me tell you, when people are going to madrasas, they're literally trying to create an alternative.
Okay, let's first bring in Talha Amir Rashadi on this. Why would you want to use a pager if you have a smartphone?
I can only call it a ridiculous statement and nothing else. As far as the statement of the Chief Minister is concerned, I would like to say that this is highly objectionable, and at the same time it's pretty much shameful that the Chief Minister of a state who has taken oath on the Constitution of India is clearly violating the basic structure and the fundamental structure of the Constitution. But at the same time, it's understandable for him to criticize the madrasa, to condemn the madrasas, to try and humiliate the madrasas because the thing is that his political ideology, the political ideology to which he belongs, and the godfather of those political ideologies.
Sir, right now, you are just analyzing. Answer a simple question. When you have Negat Abbas's question to you was, when you can have modern education, why would you not want the children to avail of it?
I'll come to
That's the question.
I'll come to that point, but at least let me have my comment on the topic of the debate. At least listen to my comment on the topic of the debate, then I'll answer Ms. Negat also. Let me complete. Give me 15 seconds. The problem with the Chief Minister of Assam is not an individual's problem. The problem lies with the ideology that he belongs to.
Sir, right now we are analyzing the problem of madrasas, not the problem of Himanta Biswa Sarma. Let's do a separate show on analyzing him. Right now, let's talk about madrasas.
Give me 15 seconds. ठीक है, मैं आ रहा हूँ.
Sir, 2 minutes से बोल रहे हैं आप 15 सेकंड मांग रहे हैं.
आपने 15 सेकंड तो आपने उसमें इंटरप्ट कर दिया. चलिए, मैं बस ये कह रहा हूँ, right from the first Minister of Education of India, independent India, right from Maulana Abul Kalam Azad to the missile man of India, Dr. APJ Abul Kalam. All these people were the product of madrasas. Veer Abdul Hamid, who destroyed 8 tanks of Pakistan, was a product of madrasa. I am a product of madrasa.
Okay.
This is what you are talking about, pagers, and you are talking about cell phones.
Negat Abbas, quick rebuttal. When you have such great people coming out of madrasas, then what's your problem?
No, first of all, these people only have one example. Obviously, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was, studied in madrasa, but I need to know what he did not choose an alternative madrasa. He did not choose an alternative only education system. Why can't we have the Islamic education when we are the Islamists? We are the people, following that religion. We are the people who know the most of Islam. Then why can't we teach our children Islam at our home? Why do we need to have a separate school for it? Why do we need to stop people?
We can have Saraswati Shishu Mandir, we can have Vidya Bharati, we can have all the RSS affiliated schools, but we cannot have madrasas.
My question is different. How many people can you name on tips? Can you count on? My friend, can you count how many people can you name who have studied in madrasas and become IAS, IPS, doctors? Then you can literally count on tips if you have some, and also they will be the people who are also going to the schools. That is the point. When you can, teach the child Islamic education at your home.
Okay.
I am also studying. I am also a Muslim. I am practicing my Islam at my home. Why do I need to have a separate school for that? I don't need to leave my modern education. And also, Padmaja, very important point. I'll take 10 seconds more. That what is being taught at the madrasas from the handful of clowns is that you should not have modern education. You should not wear such clothes. You should oppose the kafirs. The kafirs are Hindus. That is what is being taught, which is why we are standing against right now. Being a Muslim, I'm standing against that.
Talha is saying that this is rubbish. He's taught no such thing. He was taught amazing things.
I'm from a madrasa and I'm wearing a Peter England shirt. I'm a graduate of madrasa, I'm wearing a Peter England shirt. I'm a clown. Do I sound a clown to her?
The man is allowed to do that. The man is allowed to do that. Why is the woman not allowed to do that? Why am I not allowed to wear a skirt and go out? Why am I not allowed to wear a cut sleeve and go out?
That's your individual choice, Muhtarma. You can wear a skirt, you can
Why am I not allowed to wear a bindi and go out?
That's your individual choice.
Why am I not allowed to have no hijab and go there?
Lakum deenukum waliyadeen. My deen is for me and your deen is for you. Lakum deenukum waliyadeen. You can wear a, you can become a
Okay, interesting point that has been raised by Talha, Tuhin Sinha, that instead of doing away, we are always saying that we need more places of education. There are more children and many of them do not have access, especially in the remote areas. How about modernizing madrasas? Instead of cracking down on them, modernize them.
Padmaja, Sharia fanboys will always have a problem with progressive outlook and a progressive views coming from somebody. So instead of applauding Himanta Biswa ji, you need to understand that it was Modi ji who had once said that his vision for a Muslim student is holding the Quran in one hand and the laptop on the other hand. But unfortunately, despite our best attempts to modernize the madrasas, the finding is that they continue to be a hub of radicalization. And today, unfortunately, Islamic radicalization is one of the biggest problems facing the world. So in the absence of a formal course, in the absence of something which can be monitored, we have no idea what is being taught. And it is with the best of intention that Himanta Biswa made that suggestion. We want the Muslim students, young students, to be extremely competitive. We want them to become the best of doctors, scientists, which unfortunately, over the last few decades, over the last 7 odd decades, has not happened to the extent that it should have happened. So I think instead of appreciating that, it is the Muslim leadership of this country which has failed the Muslim population. Okay. And today a part of and you can imagine the courage of Mr. Himanta Biswa. Assam has a 36% Muslim population. So it needs, a lot of courage and conviction to make that statement. And trust me, without a certain portion of Muslim votes coming to the BJP in Assam, with that kind of percentage, 36%, we would not be winning. So we have the best interests of the Muslim community in mind. It is people like Talha who have, let down the community. It is the Muslim leadership.
Ahmed, there seems to be a bit of an irony here that on the one hand you say the BJP wants to keep Muslims backward. Then you're saying, why is the BJP forcing Muslim children to go into better schools? Isn't that contradictory?
No, if we are to look at the statement given by Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Chief Minister of Assam, prima facie it looks like he is exposing his prejudiced mentality and Islamophobic mentality. But we have heard Tuhin batting so heavily for him, then if we have to give him a benefit of doubt, then what the Assam Chief Minister must do is recognize madrasa as an educational board like we have in West Bengal, in Uttar Pradesh, and there are other madrasa boards, just like any other, institution of education, and modernize it. We already have in Bengal madrasa board where general stream of studies, like science and mathematics and history and geography, all of these subjects are being taught alongside the Islamic teachings, and there is nothing wrong in it. And students of madrasas, they are joining civil services, they are becoming IAS, IPS officers, and state civil services entrance they are cracking, they are becoming engineers. So instead of, the BJP leaders is high
time. You mentioned that, sir, and you gave the example of Bengal, because on this point, let me quote to you that on the 16th of March 2022, the West Bengal Police's Special Task Force arrested a madrasa teacher from Bakra for his connection with Islamic fundamentalist organization Jamaatul Mujahideen Bangladesh. And no, this is 2022.
Yes,
Before
Padmaja,
that, sir, 2019, 3rd of July, the center said that terrorist groups are using madrasas in Bengal for radicalization. This is your example of Bengal, and I'm telling you.
There are
Sir, Abhi, you said that madrasas in West Bengal are an example to be held up to the world. And I am quoting to you how the West Bengal STF has arrested madrasa teachers.
And they're doing so well. Unless, you see, on one hand, you cannot just, continue demonizing madrasas.
How is it demonizing the West Bengal STF arrested?
Reform. Oh, I want to modernize madrasas. You are demonizing. I'm sorry to say,
but sir,
you are demonizing.
How?
When I'm giving the example,
how am I demonizing if I'm quoting to you what the West Bengal police did?
Uttar Pradesh, madrasa board in other states, and I am giving us advice to the so overtly prejudiced mind and prejudiced mentality of Himanta Biswa Sarma that he must
madrasa board in every state.
Contrary to what he was saying, he must recognize the madrasa board and
recognize madrasa board.
And in fact, at present, in madrasas they do not only teach Quran; they also teach other general studies, their general subjects.
Nigat Abbas is my name. Have you changed your name to Nigat Abbas? Padmaja has asked me to speak. That's what my question is, Padmaja, that when we already have a systematic, organized education system, when we talk about equality, equal education system for everybody living in the country, then why do we need to have an alternative? Why do we need to have a religious constitution and an institution to study? Why are you restricting these students? Why are you restricting these children to go and have normal, modern
poor section of society? Equality does not always have to be seen from the prism of religion. It has to be seen.
Okay, so would you agree? Just a second, Nigat Abbas, would you agree that let the government not fund it, but madrasas can carry on? If somebody, Tausif Ahmed, wants to run a madrasa, why not?
No, that's
his money, his wish.
No, Padmaja, that's not scary. That's exactly what you just quoted. What's happening in the name of madrasa is very dangerous for the country. There are lots of people, there are lots of countries and, terrorist organizations who are funding it. The government will not fund. They will seek the funding from the terrorist organization, and there will be manufactured factory of the terrorism and terrorists. That's exactly what.
You see, people like Nigat Abbas does not understand.
Okay, let me bring in Mohammad Asif Hussain Sohail also.
We have heard Himanta Biswa Sarma saying that the word madrasa should cease to exist.
And then in the same breath he also said that it is violative of the child's rights, sir. Okay, I do not understand.
Because that has a Persian origin.
Okay,
I must change his name as well.
Okay, in the same breath he is also saying that I want the children to have the best education. So I don't see how that is Islamophobic. Respond to this, Asif Sohail.
Because it has Persian origin.
The Chief Minister says, and actually a number of people have said before this, not just BJP, several educationists have said that you want to have religious education, do it at home. You come to school, you learn subjects.
Yes.
You should get an education.
No, who
teach
is
religion at home?
Biswa Sarma to dictate this to a particular section of community?
But why are you gagging Mr. Sohail? Let him also answer, no?
What Muslims should
don't take away his right to answer. Mr. Sohail, learn religion at home, get an education in school.
I'm not surprised with the state university students. Like, there is no person who has seen in IAS, IPS, UPSC. We have many aspirants, and they came from the madrasa, they cracked the UPSC. See, when it comes to the Assam, see, what the madrasa is actually, you need to know about. The madrasa, it provides a free education. When the government failed to provide, the madrasas are providing. In madrasa, they are giving a modern education as well. It's not the Islamic education.
Sir, but nobody is failing to provide education. The Chief Minister is saying, I will provide education to the children who are going to madrasas. He's not saying, unko utha ke ghar pe rakh do.
He will provide, tell him to first fill the vacancies of 314 teachers who are not there in the Assam school. Assam के स्कूल में 314 स्कूल में टीचर्स नहीं है.